What is up, guys? It's RJ here, and we need to talk. We need to talk about the Pixel 4a. You see, this device has the potential to easily be the phone of the year, coming in at a price tag of $350 US. The year 2020 can be described as a transitional year, and in many ways, Google is in a transitional state. This year, Google is going back to the basics and are really focused on bringing value in a very competitive market. You see, Google did it right this year. This year, they listened to us, the consumers, and addressed all the minor issues that I had about the Pixel 3a, all while bringing down the price tag by $50 and somehow finding a way to improve the camera. Most people don't like the design and build of Pixel devices, and I can see why you would be turned off by this plastic build, this unusual looking camera layout, and a physical fingerprint reader. But for myself personally, I dig this design. I think it's minimal, it looks quirky, and this form factor is terrific. This year, Google made the Pixel 4a smaller and lighter, all while giving us a bigger, almost bezel-less display. I mean, sure, it is a plastic build, so we do miss out on features such as wireless charging, but that's something I'm willing to sacrifice, especially at this price point. This is Google's first attempt at an in-display hole-punch front-facing camera, and to be honest, it's probably overdue. The Pixel 4a is over 7mm shorter than the Pixel 3a and slightly narrower, but it also has around 3 to 4% more visible display area, which I find to be impressive. If you guys want to see more coverage on Pixel devices, I will be picking up the Pixel 5 for review purposes, so make sure to leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel for more high quality tech videos. This back is a soft touch plastic, and I think it feels pretty good in the hands, and it does add some extra grip to the device if you do decide to go caseless. Speaking of cases, if you guys are interested in a minimal, clear looking case, this one is made by ESR, and it does come with this metal kickstand, which is perfect for multimedia consumption. I made a full review on this case and 3 other Pixel 4a cases, which I will link in the description below, and I'll also provide you guys with a link to this case in the description, so make sure you go and check that out if you are interested. The Pixel 4a is ergonomically outstanding. It's easy to grip the phone in your hands, it's easily pocketable, and reaching the top of the display is no problem at all. If you guys watch my videos on a regular basis, you guys probably already know that I'm not a big fan of biometrics. I'm really happy to see that Google kept the capacitive fingerprint scanner on the Pixel 4a, and I absolutely love this thing. It's very fast and reliable, and I haven't had any issues being locked out of my phone like I've experienced on so many in-display fingerprint readers. So in my opinion, capacitive fingerprint readers are the way to go, and Google does add its own unique touch by letting us pull down on the reader to bring up the notification panel. This is by far my favorite feature on Pixel devices, although they did go away from that on the Pixel 4, but I'm glad to see it back on the Pixel 4a. The Pixel 4a sports a 5.8-inch 1080p OLED panel with HDR support. This display honestly feels like a substantial upgrade over the Pixel 3a's panel. In outdoor sunny conditions, there is a mode called Sunlight Overboost, which makes the screen more legible in sunny conditions. In a market where 120Hz panels are becoming quite prevalent across mid-range devices, Google is falling behind. This is only a 60Hz panel, and once again, you do have to consider the price point. But if you are like me and you are coming over to the 4a after using a 120Hz panel on the daily, you are going to notice the drop off. But aside from that, this display is fantastic. Sure, we do lack a little bit of contrast in comparison to other phones, but it's not that big of an issue. I've been really enjoying consuming content on the 4a, especially this year since we do have an 82.74% screen to body ratio. So you do get a much more immersive experience, especially when you are consuming media. Oh yeah, did I mention that the Pixel 4a also comes with the ancient 3.5mm headphone jack? Although I do wish it was placed at the bottom of the phone as opposed to the top, but I really can't complain. We also have dual stereo speakers, and they're alright. They're not the best and they're not the worst, but I think they are a little bit better than last year's Pixel 3a speakers. Take a listen for yourself. Of course, you can't talk about Pixel devices without mentioning the camera. And somehow, some way, every year Google finds a way to improve upon the camera system. This phone uses the same sensor and optics as the Pixel 4, and this is by far the best camera on a budget device in 2020. Apple's iPhone SE, comparatively speaking, doesn't even come close when talking about still image quality. You don't need to be a professional photographer to get professional looking shots on the 4A. We have a 12 megapixel lens with an f1.7 aperture and both optical and electronic image stabilization. This camera is outstanding. Sure, any phone in 2020 is capable of getting good looking shots in outdoor sunny conditions, but the Pixel 4a is an outstanding performer indoors as well. It's a quick snapper and the camera does an excellent job of making use of whatever light is available. All of these shots look crisp and clear despite the lack of light. But if you do value versatility, then this phone isn't for you. There is no ultra-wide angle or telephoto lens. And if you really want that ultra-wide, you should wait for the Pixel 4a 5G, which by the sounds of it is delayed until November or December. So a bit of a wait. But it may be worth the wait because most likely the Pixel 4a will produce the best ultra-wide angle shots in its own respective price category. On the video side of things, this camera still struggles. We can shoot 4K at 30 FPS along with slow motion at 1080p 120 FPS. But the quality just isn't there, at least in comparison to the quality you can get out of the iPhone SE. My favorite thing about Pixel devices, more so than the camera itself, is the OS. Pixel 4a runs stock Android, and it is by far my favorite version of Android. This is the way Android is supposed to be done, with no bloatware, early updates, and overall just a smooth, fluid experience on a day-to-day basis. Straight out of the box, you do get Android 10, but you can update to Android 11 as soon as you wish. I did cover Android 11 in a separate video. If you guys do want to check that out, I will also link that in the description below. Some of you guys over on Twitter asked me about the haptics, and the haptics on the Pixel 4a are considerably improved over the Pixel 3a. In fact, I think Google's haptic software design is only beaten by Apple. Most Android manufacturers are behind in my opinion when it comes to good haptics, which I feel like is a critical component in making a phone feel premium. If your main concern about the Pixel 4a was the performance, well, I'm here to tell you that this phone is an excellent performer. The 4a comes with the mid-range Snapdragon 730 chipset with an Adreno 618 GPU and 6GB of RAM. I feel like this is more than adequate specs for the 4a. I haven't experienced a single hiccup yet, and this phone is plenty fast doing everyday normal phone stuff. Surprisingly, running games on this phone is also a smooth lag-free experience, and even higher graphic intense games like Asphalt 9 runs just fine. Based on my usage, the battery life on the Pixel 4a is more than adequate enough to get me through a full day. You would never guess that this phone only has a 3140 mAh battery. I'm easily able to get around 6.5 hours of screen on time consistently, and based on my usage, that is some very good screen on time. Of course, that screen on time fluctuates based on my usage, so say it's a day where I'm watching a lot of videos and playing a lot of games. Then I'm able to get around 4 hours of screen on time, which is rather good given that I do push this device on maximum brightness. When you combine the 60Hz panel with stock Android and the Snapdragon 730 chipset, you get some pretty darn good battery life. So I don't know how Google did it, but Google blew me away last year with the Pixel 3a, and they managed to improve upon an already exceptional device and deliver a fantastic one in the Pixel 4a. The battery life is excellent, this display is great, and this is the best camera on a smartphone that isn't a flagship. Heck, I would even argue that this camera system beats out a lot of current flagships. The 4a just lacks versatility in the sense that we don't get a telephoto or an ultra-wide angle lens. I'll admit this phone isn't perfect. We are missing an official IP rating, wireless charging, and this soft touch plastic isn't for everyone. But for $350, you really can't complain. So if you are in dire need of a new phone or you are on a budget, don't hesitate. Even if you aren't on a budget and you are curious about Pixel devices, do not hesitate to pull the trigger on this device. The Pixel 4a is the real deal, and it just makes me that much more excited for the upcoming Pixel 5. If you guys want to see my Pixel 5a review, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to flex with your tech.